Okay, so this is showing the frequency range like what I was talking about. So you have 0 hertz to 500 hertz. So the lower frequencies are fewer cycles per second, and the higher frequencies are more cycles per second. So in the example that I used, if we do a narrow filter, we're looking at 100 to 200 hertz. So we're ignoring all of this, and we're ignoring all of that. And this is what we would get. So if I see a reading on the screen, when we're measuring the EMG, if I see a reading of 3 microvolts, that means that that's the average of the activity that's within this range. Okay? Now, microvolts is how much power there is. The frequency is hertz. That's how many cycles per second. So they're two different things. Sometimes people get them confused, but they're two different things. So here we're just defining what we're going to be looking at. And then when we see the reading that's going 3 microvolts, 5 microvolts, 10 microvolts, 2 microvolts, that's amplitude. That's the power that's within that range. Now, when you're just looking at a signal on an EMG, you don't, this is not, you don't really need to get into all of that, but this is just so you have the background of what it is you're looking at. And for instance, why you might switch to a narrow filter sometimes and a wide filter other times.
I didn't understand that. Why would we switch?
Well, one reason would be, let's say, first of all, let's say I want to measure muscle tension from the upper back. If I put sensors on the upper back and I use a wide filter, I'm going to be picking up from actually 20 to 500 hertz. So I'm picking up all of that. Problem is that the heartbeat is going to be within, I believe, 20 to about 90 hertz. And it's a very strong electrical signal. So what's going to happen is we'll see a reading going along for the EMG, that's the upper back, but we'll keep seeing this big spike. And that's because every time the heart beats, it's putting out a huge amplitude at a frequency that's within this range here. And it's going to interfere with us doing the work on the muscle on the back. So, but what happens if we switch to this frequency range, it's excluding this stuff. So we're not going to see the heart artifact.
So if that's a narrow band, why would we ever want a wide band?
Good question. We would want a wide band in some cases because there may be some situations where there's muscle activity going on over here, and if we use this frequency band, we wouldn't see it. Like for instance, we would go back to the pelvic muscle disorder. If we're using a vaginal sensor and we're asking the person to do Kegels and measuring the activity there, and they're contracting the muscle, but most of the activity is over here, and I'm using this filter, I'm going to say, no, you're not contracting the muscle, and keep telling them that they have to do something different. And in fact, maybe they are contracting the muscle, but it's the activity is here. Also, you might have someone that maybe has pain, and their muscles are spasming, but most of the activity is outside of this narrow range, so we would miss it.
What I was inferring, maybe it's wrong, is that when you have a wide pass, you get more artifacts, like the heartbeat. So when you're using a wide pass for a vaginal sensor, wouldn't you get the heartbeat and lots of artifacts?
No, you would tend not to get, if you're further away from the heart, you tend to get either less of it or none of it. And so sort of a rule, a sort of general rule, is if you're working on the torso, then use a narrow filter. Okay. If you're working on extremities, further away from the heart, then you can use a wide filter.
Got it.
And it's a trade-off, because when you go to the wide filter, you are more open to artifact, but you're also getting more of the signal that is there. So it's a trade-off, and you just have to decide what's best for the situation.